Welcome to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. Use the power of discovering new habits to create success in all areas of life. Body, fitness and nutrition, being, spirituality, passion and purpose, balance, marriage, kids and relationships, business, marketing, sales, leadership and systems. Transform your life by learning how habits work. And now your host, a husband, father, entrepreneur, trainer, coach, and warrior, Jesse Ewell.
Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we're going to be talking about unconventional habits that you're going to have to start doing in 2020. See, New Year's presents a few things. New Year's presents new habits, new routines, the hype of, us doing these New Year's resolutions and different things. But I want to talk today about unconventional habits. What are unconventional habits? These are habits that we often don't think about. These are habits that aren't necessarily doing. These are habits of being. And what I mean by this is it's not something externally that you're going to do. It's something that you're going to be or someone you're going to have to become to make these happen. And I think of an unconventional habit as like a conventional habit may be working out. An unconventional habit are the things that I'm going to actually discuss today. So as we go through this, I want you to think about habits in a different way. Habits aren't always something that we do. They can also be something that we become or something that some way we behave in or have a belief in that's different. And so we have doing habits or we have being habits. And I want you to think about these in both contexts, not just one. So the number one habit you must start doing, you must start being in 2020 is to make promises to yourself that you can keep. Now, when you think of this, it's like, what promises are you making to yourself that you're not keeping? What promises have you made in the past that you haven't kept? And being where we're at inside of just starting 2020, everybody's high on this New Year's resolution, but we make promises every year and we also aren't keeping those every year. And I can say for myself, there's promises I don't keep to myself. But one of the habits that you can become and start being inside of 2020 is to make promises to yourself that you can actually keep. Because here's what happens is we focus on keeping promises to other people. And so inside of doing that, we actually drop the ball on making promises to ourselves that we keep. See, this focus is on other people because we know that we can't keep them to ourselves. And so therefore, we would naturally deflect keeping those promises to other people as a way for us not to see what's actually going on inside of us. See, these aren't external. This is not an external habit. This is an internal habit. Being your habits, being your word is the promise you can make to yourself. And practice this. It does take practice. Practice every single day, looking in the mirror and asking yourself, hey, did I keep my word today? Did I keep my promise to myself? Because you may think that you're actually keeping them, but at the end of the day, you may check in with yourself and be like, hey, if I can't make a promise to myself, to the man in the mirror, woman in the mirror, how can you truly expect to keep them with others? And maybe you are keeping them with others, but guess who's getting hurt in the process? So how do you actually keep promises to yourself? Number one, you got to start small. It could be something as simple as, hey, I'm going to go to the gym today or tomorrow, whatever that is, whatever promise you made. But by you fulfilling that promise, you're building up this resiliency to continue to keep this promise to yourself. Make sure You declare it out loud. You create a card. Maybe you put it on the back of your phone. Maybe you make a note on your phone. And then the last part is when you check in with yourself at the end of the day, make sure you celebrate yourself by if you've kept that promise. If you haven't, also give yourself an opportunity of, hey, here's what I'm going to do tomorrow. Generally, the reason we don't keep promises to ourselves is because we've made them too complex. We've bitten off more than we can handle, and just scale it down and scale it back. And I can actually see that it's much easier to keep a promise. If it's hard and there's a lot of resistance in keeping this promise, you may actually want to change the promise that you're keeping. But start making this a habit daily. Number 2, there is no better time to start than right now. See, with the new year, we use phrases like, oh, I'll wait till the new year, the new season. I'll wait till next Monday to get started. But if you truly want it, if you're truly committed, if you truly want the results, then you will just get started right now. Think about this. If it was a workout and it mattered to you that much, you wouldn't wait till Monday. If it was a nutrition plan and it mattered that much to you, you wouldn't wait until Monday. You wouldn't wait till the new year. You wouldn't wait till this new season. You would just get started right now, because that is what commitment is. That is what commitment takes. And the longer you put it off, the harder and harder it will be to get started. So there is no better time for you to start than right now, right here in this second. Even if it was 5 minutes, 1 minute, whatever it is. But it gets you taking action is what is going to help you get started on whatever you're waiting for. Number 3, take responsibility for your life. The number one thing that I get when I coach clients and when they're new or when I go through interviews with clients is they are not taking responsibility for an area of their life, and it's affecting all other areas of life. And think about, they're not taking responsibility in their marriage. They're blaming their spouse for their marital issues. They're not taking responsibility for their business. They're blaming employees. They're blaming clients. Think about that. How could you blame someone who's actually paying you for the results in your business? People do this shit all the time, and it drives me crazy. How could you blame your spouse when if you're 100% bought into the relationship? How can you blame your spouse for anything? You are calling the shots in your life. You are creating the life that you actually desire. Whether you like it or not, you've created everything in your life up until the point that you're at today. So if you feel victimized, chances are you have created that in your life at some point, but you are the creator of your own reality. So even if you don't like your life, if it's not what you currently think that it should be, if you feel like you haven't lived up to your potential, you have the power to change this at any point in time. You have the power to change your current reality at any point in time. Is it going to be easy? Hell no. Is it probably going to be one of the hardest things you do? Yes, but nothing is worse than staying the same and being a victim to your own reality. Start taking responsibility for your life and for where you're at today, knowing that you have the power to change that every single day. And guess what? No one else will do this for you. No one else will come and save you from your own place that you're currently in. And think about this. If they save you, all of a sudden that becomes their results, not your results. And that is the worst place for you to be in. Number 4, environment is everything. Create an environment in your household, in your business, wherever you're at that cultivates joy, love, and happiness. And I'm not talking about the fake joy, the fake love, and fake happiness. I'm talking about you in your environment, creating a place of joy, love, and happiness. Create an environment that makes it easy for you to follow your habits. You know, I think of the office that I'm in right now. I have a podcast room. It makes it really easy to just jump on and record a podcast. I have an office behind this wall, right behind me, where I'll sit down and do some of my calls. It changes up the environment. It changes up my energy. I have a gym in the back of my office that makes it really easy to go work out. Whenever I know I don't have an excuse to not go work out because it's literally 30 feet away. I got to go down the stairs. I've made it really easy to follow my habits. I've made it comfortable, but at the same time, I've made it to where it's excuse-free. I've made it fun. I've made it creative. And oftentimes I have to sit here and cleanse my office. I got to change paint. I got to change colors. I've changed plants, and I keep things clean in a certain way because I realize this, that my environment may matter more than anything else. It's the same thing if you're at home, you know, with your kids, your spouse, changing up the environment to where it makes it easy for you, your spouse, your kids to do things, to cultivate joy, to focus on love and happiness. But most of all, if I make it easy to follow my habits, chances are I want to be in this environment. I have a comfortable environment. And what I mean by comfortable isn't necessarily the comfort of, hey, you know, I'm living in this comfortable place. It's more like, hey, this place provides me this comfort and this energy of comfort to where I can relax when I walk into it instead of feeling stressed or anxious because there's things everywhere. So create an environment that cultivates joy, love, happiness, because at the end of the day, your environment impacts everything. Number 5, ask for forgiveness. And this may be one of the biggest things if you're married. This may be one of the biggest things that you could focus on as a married couple inside of 2020. As a society, we've made it a habit of asking for permission. Men asking their wives where they want to go, what they want to do, all of these things when it comes to date nights, when it comes to hanging out with the kids, when it comes to dinner. Like, stop asking. You didn't ask her when you started dating her what she wanted to do, where she wanted to go. You tried to impress her. You tried to make an impression on her. Take the lead and show her. And ladies, you can do the same thing. Stop asking your husband what they want to do. Just if you want to do it and do something for them, whether it's a husband or wife, stop asking and just go do it. If they don't like it, give them the space to be like, hey, I didn't really want to go here. Okay, well, let's go somewhere else. But I'm speaking this from experience. We have a lot of married couples inside of our programs, power couples. We have people that are asking, men that are asking, hey, do you want to go here? Do you want to go there? And I've done this myself. And one of the things that I realized is my wife wants me to take the lead and just go do it. Stop asking for permission. Just say, hey, here is what we are doing. Here is where here's where we're going. But stop asking for permission. Stop asking for, your wife to agree with you. Stop asking for your husband to agree with you. If it's not the right place, you can always change it up. But if you ask for permission every single time, you're depleting your power. Like, lead in every area of your life. Lead in your marriage. Lead in a way that represents a leader. You wouldn't necessarily ask your employees for permission to spend money, to invest money. You wouldn't necessarily ask your employees if you should market or not. You would just do it because you were the leader. And if it was the wrong thing, you would take responsibility for it. So this is no different when it comes to dating your spouse, dating your wife. You're not asking for permission. You set it up and you take them take her to go do it. And if it's the wrong thing, you take responsibility and you change it the next time. But stop asking for permission. Number 6, choose consistency above everything else. Listen, I've spent the last 20 years of my life, and the difference between of coaching and training people, the difference between success and failure is who can be consistent. Not perfect, but consistent. No one is better than you, smarter than you, more talented than you, but chances are they've been more consistent at whatever they've chose to do, whether it's their business, their craft, whether it's, I even think of like, people who've done podcasts, people who post on social media. Generally, the people that are making the biggest impact are the ones who have been the most consistent. I think of a white belt versus a black belt. The only difference is the black belt has more reps. They've been more consistent. The difference between a pro and an amateur is the amount of reps that they've put in. The difference between success and failure in the gym is who can be the most consistent, whether it's with nutrition, whether it's with their mindset, or whether it's with their workouts. It's always about consistency, and that is what is going to get you the results above everything else. Now, whatever you do in life, no matter what it is, if you can just focus on one thing, and that's being consistent, whether it's in the gym, in your nutrition, in spirituality, in your relationship, with your spouse, in your business, whatever you choose to do, if you can be consistent, you can dominate. Number 7, choose goals that you can feel. You see, one of the greatest mistakes that I see people make when it comes to setting goals is they base them off what they think that they want. They focus on this why, which a why is super important. But if you don't feel the why, it doesn't matter. If you don't feel the goals and outcomes you're setting, if you don't feel these where they scare you or excite you, chances are you're not going to do them. You won't do it no matter how important your what is, no matter how important your why is. When you set goals, if you don't feel them, you will not hit them. Because here's the thing, feeling is the secret. You truly have to feel the goals you're setting, or they won't move you to make a change. They won't move you to make it happen. So set goals. A goal that you can feel is a real goal. A goal that you can feel is what's truly real. And I can't tell you that when you attach that feeling and you attach that emotion to the goal, it starts moving in the direction that you want to go. Things just start happening in your life. Now, the last part of this is very similar to the first thing, but this is making commitments that you can keep, and mostly making commitments to yourself that you can keep. Commitments are similar to promises, but they're a little bit different. You see, it's easy to get caught up this time of year with the hype of the new year. I'm going to finish this race. I'm going to make millions of dollars. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to complete the race in this time. But commitments are specific. They're not general. Commitments are very specific. See, it's easy to overestimate what we can get done in a week. And so we often overcommit in this week, but it's easy to underestimate what we can do in a year. And by us making these small commitments, by us making these small commitments to ourselves, we can get a lot done in a course of a year. Commitments are like a muscle. The more that you train your commitment, the easier they are at keeping them. But how do you actually make a habit out of your commitments? One is you have to have certainty. Be certain about the commitments that you make. It doesn't mean that you have to, make this big, huge commitment. It's like, what's the commitment I can make to get me one step closer to what I truly want? What is the commitment that I can make today that'll get me one step closer to what I truly want? And that comes with certainty, knowing what that is. The next part of this is to make it specific. See, one of the reasons people don't keep their commitments is because they're too general. They're not very specific in what commitment they are actually keeping. It's like, hey, I commit to making more money. Well, that's great, but it's not very specific. I commit to losing weight. I commit to eating better. These are not specific commitments. And if you don't make specific commitments, you will not keep them. And so 1 is certainty, 2 is specific, and 3 is celebrate. Think about this. We don't celebrate the commitments we make. And so what is the point of keeping a commitment if we're not going to celebrate the commitment we made? It's kind of like, hey, I shot a basket and I made it and I just acted like I've done it before. That's great. But if I can say, hey, I made this commitment, hell yeah, I'm going to do this again. It doesn't mean you have to have this grand thing. It's just this small thing that I made this commitment. It was very specific. I was certain in keeping this and I completed it, and I'm going to celebrate it, even if it's for a second. And then I'm going to move on and I'm going to do it again. Because when I do it again and I celebrate it, it makes me want to commit even more than I did before. And so as you're sitting here, make commitments, have certainty in these commitments, be specific about what they are, and celebrate them when you hit them. And if you don't hit them, look back and say, well, was I specific enough? And was I certain about the commitments I made? Because chances are, if you're not keeping your commitments, you're overcommitting and you're not specific enough. So I want to thank you guys for being on here. These are the unconventional habits of 2020 that you could start that would actually change your life. If you're looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group on Facebook, where I'll be dropping daily habits to help you live to your full potential. If you want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle, you may have questions, comments, or requests. Feel free to contact me, Jesse at habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.